once again from the inside, A&M, LSU, Texas, North Carolina A&T, Houston, and Baylor.
Great start by Tonia Marshall from LSU.
Very even through the first leadoff leg. Great pass by LSU, not unusual. And LSU passes off first. LSU definitely in the lead. Everyone's going to have to come and get them. LSU and Texas. LSU is going to win the Carlette Guidry 4x100 relay. Texas in hot pursuit, but just not enough straightaway left.
Wow.
And once again, the Tigers win the relay. 42.87.
That's the best time in the world right now. And obviously the best time in the NCAA. That's what great
13 seconds early this spring. Marshall at 5. Good start. Terrible start for Milan Young. Tonia Marshall is gone. Leah Armstrong also right there for LSU. Tonia Marshall, now it's just about the time. And it's going to be a 1-2-4 finish for LSU. Tonia Marshall, 12.77 unofficial.
Wow.
Let's wait for the wind reading to see if it will count as an improvement on her best U.S. time. 12.75 for Tonia Marshall as the winner here at the Texas Relays.
Man, she lowers her second best time in the world by over 1/10 of a second. That's 3/100 of a second off the best in the world. In the middle of the track in the yellow and purple. Look at the sprint form in between the hurdles. She has a great start always, but then 6, 7, 8, 9, her arms were exactly what she wanted to have. Her arms were a little bit away from her body on the left of your screen. She kept her head down and she's quick to the first hurdle. Now watch this. Her shoulders and hips never deviate that much over the hurdle. And look at her arms. They're a little bit away from her body. That's what she wanted. She said yesterday they were too close to her chest, and she ran off that 10th hurdle really well.
So Laird will provide a nice rabbit for Devin Ashane, the freshman from A&M, and Ashane trying to stay with him. Laird runs a great turn. Outside of him, Sean Maswaganye of Houston also running well, but it is Laird in the lead coming down the home stretch. You're not going to catch him when he's got a running start on 100 meters. It's Laird followed by Maswaganye, and Devin Ashane gets third. 1988 flashes up, and we've been seeing these times go down from the unofficial. 1988, and the flags were not flying, so that is likely to be 1981. And that was starting to get close to collegiate record territory.
Well, Terrence Laird didn't get the best start in the first 50 meters. Took him about halfway through the turn to really get going, but he comes off the turn and just puts it all together. He does such a good job of turning over his strides, and he got the crowd to give a woo. That's what you want here. Head in perfect position. Arm swing just natural. He looked easy in the preliminaries, and here in the finals, something very special.
LSU in 3, 4, 5, and 7. Britley Humphrey in the middle of the track in 5 with the best time from the prelims.
Britley Humphrey first over to that hurdle. She told me that was the part of the race right here, this first 200, making sure she was really aggressive down this back stretch.
She made up the stagger on Lexi Price of Texas Tech.
Both LSU, Milan Young and Britley Humphrey went out a little bit hard in Thursday, and we'll see if they have enough gas in the tank to close here.
Coming into number 8, and it's pretty close right now out in lane 9. That's Ariana Henderson of Colorado. But now in the lane number 3, that is Journey Woodward, the LSU sophomore, into the lead. It's Woodward followed by Young. Humphrey trying to make it an LSU sweep, and it's not going to happen. Third place, Faith Roberson of UT San Antonio will get third, but it's 1-2 for LSU, including Journey Woodward. A very fine early season time. That is a lifetime best, 56.64 for the sophomore.
Wow. Woodward ran so patient. Third from the right on your screen, the first LSU woman. She ran a really good third 100, and then look at the stride pattern here. The stride pattern over 8, 9, and 10. She did not stutter. She was clean, and she ran off of that last hurdle. That was textbook last 80 meters for a women's 400 race. Look at right here, third from the right. Journey Woodward, look at the knee lift and the close. It is so hard to keep your hips up tall coming off that last hurdle when you are dead tired.
Aaliyah Miller, the Baylor junior who won the NCAA Indoor Championships 2 weeks ago, running wire to wire. We were expecting her to run in this 800. She did win the 1500 from earlier in the Texas Relays program, and probably thought that that was enough for one trip to Austin.
And this break to the pole right here, you want to make sure you stay in a nice straight line and not curve in. And honestly, McDonald's the only one that really took that pole where she didn't have to run any less efficient than she already was. That first 200 right there, this race is broken down into 200s. Your first 200 sets the tone, and then this next 200, you just want to carry it so that you've got a good aggressive start through this first lap of this 800.
Wind has picked up a little bit, so it's probably in their face on that backstretch. Katie Ann McDonald pacing this group through a pretty pedestrian first 400 meters, just under 63 seconds.
She said she didn't mind it was that because it was this part right now, didn't mind that it 62, 63, because this 200 right here is where she really wanted to attack. You look at her stride pattern right now. It's starting to pick up. The Katie Ann McDonald in the yellow in the front. She's starting to clip off a little bit quicker. This third 200 of this 800 is where you cannot fall asleep. The Oklahoma State runners behind her, if she goes, they've got to cover that move. And then in this last 200 is where you just give it everything you got and set up for this last 100 coming into the home stretch.
Stephanie Moss of Oklahoma State and England, and Caitlin Larson, her teammate, that are second and third. And Moss put herself in position to make a move.
Moss running a little bit further than she needed to, trying to pass on that curve. We'll see if she has enough.
Using McDonald as a windshield for most of the race, and now McDonald changes gears but can't quite come even with Moss. It's going to be right at the wire. I can't call it from here.
Wow.
That looked like it might be McDonald on the inside. But it's going to be very close. Good sportsmanship there. 2:06.86 unofficially. That's on the other side of where we are, and it's looking like McDonald got her, and that's what they say up top too. They are given the exact same time, but McDonald gets the win by an eyelash.
It comes down to the 1,000th of a second on that one. Wow, what a push by McDonald at the end.
Great start by Edwards at 4. Edwards is leading right now, and here comes Thomas. Damian Thomas now takes over. Edwards second, followed closely by Senior. It's going to be Senior for second, but it's Damian Thomas with the win. 13:24. An outstanding early season time, and the wind is just 1.3. A huge personal best for Thomas. 2/10, 13:22 now. More than 2/10 of a second off his personal best. An outstanding run for Thomas, but after watching him yesterday, Dan, I'm not surprised.
Wow, that time is absolutely phenomenal for this time of the year. And you said it, you hit it perfectly, Dwight. You said he is a cool customer. His teammate on his left just gets a fantastic start, Eric Edwards Jr. But Damian Thomas, he doesn't panic. He doesn't try to go catch up all at once. He does it over a period of 3-4 hurdles. He really snaps that leg down over the top of that hurdle. And when you can just be a little bit quicker over that hurdle than the guy next to you, that's how you make gains in this event. There you see Eric Edwards' right arm kind of in frame, but Damian Thomas, look at that. He brushed almost every hurdle, didn't let a single one slow him down.
So from the inside, Kansas in 1, TCU in 2, Texas in 3, then North Carolina A&T, A&M, Houston, then Baylor in 7, LSU, and Texas Tech on the outside.
Well, those lanes 6, 7, and 8 are really blazing now. They pulled away from the group just a little bit. That's Houston, Baylor, and LSU. And then North Carolina A&T making up some ground on the inside.
Right now, A&M trailing. Right now it is Baylor and Tech on the outside. Let's see who passes first. And it looks like in lane 4 that was North Carolina A&T with a great last burst down the straightaway to get his team into first, followed closely by A&M.
Well, that's Bryce Dedman for Texas A&M, and that's Randolph Ross for North Carolina A&T, and these teams tangled at the NCAA championships.
Randolph Ross, son of coach Dwayne Ross. So Dedman just tucks back in, lets Ross push the air aside and then try to make a move off the curve, but Ross had a nice burst there, and A&T will pass off first, followed by A&M, then now LSU in the mix.
Well, Randolph Ross was fresh, Dwight. He didn't run a race all day long. Bryce Dedman did run an open 400, so he was definitely fresh here as we go into the third lane. This is Elijah Young for North Carolina A&T.
A&M in second, but LSU challenging for that second spot and takes it.
For the Aggies, that's James Smith, the 400-meter hurdler.
Who dropped the baton just now. They're out. Now it's A&T, followed by LSU, and now Texas in the conversation. Into second.
That's Jonathan Jones for Texas, trying to get them back in this thing. But look who's running anchor leg there for Texas, North Carolina A&T, excuse me. That's Trevor Stewart.
LSU dropped back to third. Their third leg runner really died the last 50 meters. Texas definitely in the hunt. LSU now back in the hunt.
Well, that's the NCAA indoor champion, Noah Williams, trying to bring the Tigers all the way back. But remember, it was Trevor Stewart who brought the North Carolina A&T Aggies to victory at the NCAA indoor meet, and he is pulling away.
And that was just 2 weeks ago today in Fayetteville. It's going to be North Carolina A&T. LSU now into second place with Noah Williams. The Longhorns will finish third. A&T just misses breaking 3 minutes. They came in with a seed time of 3:01.50, and they did better than that. Your seed times.
LSU in the middle in the yellow and purple, out very well. Mason running a really good first curve. Again, on this first leg, you want somebody that can start really well and run a first curve really well.
LSU attempting to make up the stagger on Texas.
Arkansas out in sixth. That's Paris Peoples. You've heard her name called a couple times today. She's been a workhorse for the Razorbacks, making up some of that stagger.
Houston also running well out in lane 9, running blind. Along with Kansas on their inside. But Arkansas looks to be in the early lead. Let's see who passes first. It is Arkansas, followed by LSU, then Texas.
Texas had a little bit of a bobble on that pass. Peoples to Campbell. Campbell was just had a little bit of a half step back step on that. And let's see again right here. What you want to do is take a nice long curve and not just jam right in. Campbell could have saved herself a little bit more on that efficiency. It should just run it straight down towards that 200-meter mark.
Quite the traffic jam for places 2 through 4, with Arkansas well out in front.
And that's where it gets dicey right here with the back that's separated right behind Arkansas, because everyone's trying to pass, and now you've got to come into the traffic of the next baton pass, and everybody starts to spread out and go shoulder to shoulder. Here comes Texas.
Texas making a heck of a run to get up with the leader. Arkansas is going to pass first, followed by Texas, then Texas Tech.
Oh, and Texas
LSU.
bobbles the baton again.
Huge advantage to Arkansas on the pass.
Wow.
Negating much of that great second leg run. for Texas.
That cost Adeleke a couple seconds right there, just trying. She almost had to come to a dead stop and grab that baton.
And Texas back in it and into the lead. Arkansas now back to second. And LSU now into third.
Birch McGee from Arkansas again just played that so well. She tucked in on that curve, and now she's coming on this straight.
And LSU passing on the inside, so now it's Arkansas, LSU, Texas at the final exchange. Maloney for Arkansas.
Oh, and LSU
a
drops the baton
for LSU. A decent pass for Texas.
Wow. This leg is your fastest runner. This is your workhorse. This is somebody that can make up ground. This is somebody that can go out and just get them. We'll see how much groom LSU can make up off of that dropped baton. Arkansas out way in front.
Shafiqua Maloney, she's an 800-meter runner who ran a very fine 400 earlier, so her speed is already in great shape this early part of the season. Plus, she's got that 800 background strength. Nobody going to catch her in this field.
And that's key. Williams of Texas just trying to, but she's not going to have enough real estate.
So Arkansas will win it, followed by Texas. LSU back into third, but she worked really hard to get there. Might have trouble hanging on. No, they will get third, but that drop baton just killed them.
And that's
3:26.56 unofficially, better than almost every seat time but their own at 3:25.89.
That's
So it'll be key how quickly they go through their first 400 meters as to what, oh, this is a 400 meters. How quickly they go through 200 meters. Shafiqua Maloney a little off the pace there. Right outside her, though, Paris Peoples pushing the pace, making up the stagger on Maria Kuykendall of Kansas. Now Maloney picking it up. She's used to going out in 800-meter pace.
Peoples really attacked that backstretch, but Maloney stayed patient, and that's what you've got to do. You've got to attack, but you also have to stay patient and save for right here.
Tiara Robinson-Jones of Texas A&M making a move. The sophomore coming off equal with Maloney. They're both trying to reel in Paris Peoples. Peoples finds another gear. Here comes the strength of the half-miler and inside, but she can't close the deal. Paris Peoples wins it with Maloney second and Robinson-Jones third. 1-2 for Arkansas.
51-60.
They're starting Sturgis out a little bit quicker. Sturgis in 6. Coming off the turn. It's going to be Thelma Davies. Thelma Davies, the freshman from LSU, with Sturgis in hot pursuit. And it's going to be Davies at the line. Very close with Sturgis. She almost made up the distance. Unofficially 23.06. And the wind seemed to just die down just as they started that race.
Thelma Davies told me the other day that the first 20 meters of that race was going to be her focus. She wanted to stay low and stay attacked. You can't see her yet because she's on the far left. There she is in the yellow. She ran that curve so well. And what you've got to do when you come off of that curve into that straight is make sure that your hip, knee, and ankle line is very straight. And then you just got to lift your knees and close. Davies with a fantastic arm swing. She was relaxed and gets the win just by an eyelash. Woo!
They are giving it to Cambria Sturgis by 0.02 of a second. And
Wow.
they really, the official time is more than 0.2 faster than the flash time. So this ends up being a very good race for both athletes. Sturgis wins it in 22.87. Nova got a particularly good start on that one. Thelma Davies got a terrible start for LSU in 4, but here comes Wilson. Wilson is going to win it, followed closely by Thelma Davies, who really got the worst start of the entire field, and she managed to get herself together to finish.
Go over the line. They almost stepped back as they get the race started, but keep an eye on lane 9. That's Sven Sipas, the Texas Tech sophomore from Croatia. He does have a 1:47 personal best.
Got out a little bit late from the gun. He's way out there in lane 9. That Adam Swanson taking the early lead, I believe. from Eastern Illinois. A couple of Texas Tech runners in here. Not just Vilkas, but Owen Lickens is also in this field. Davis Bove as well.
I was going to say out there on the outside, Bove there in the back, just kind of hanging out, chilling. We've seen him in some big finals over the last couple of months, but they're in the all-white uniform in North Carolina A&T. That's Abbas Abkar, the senior.
See what Vilka drags them through the first 400. 53.6. It's not fast, it's not slow, but it's fast enough to string out the crowd here. Bove ran the 1500 the other day, so he's getting some work in. That was a race run on Thursday evening. Vilka's still leading this 800. No moves being made as they get ready to get to the 600-meter mark. Still Adam Swanson there in second place, and he starts to make a move along with Abbas Abkar. Abkar's head is really twisting all over the place. That usually shows some distress. But Swanson takes off. Vilka has no answer. And Swanson continued to just pull away the Eastern Illinois freshman. And with a late charge, I couldn't quite see the number on the man who finished second. I apologize. And we start the festivities with the Clyde Littlefield men's 4x100-meter relay. And we're focusing in lane 3 on the team from LSU.
Well, this is one of the more interesting and exciting races that we've seen over the years. Dwight, remember a couple years ago we saw LSU take down Houston, who was the defending NCAA champion, and Jerron Flournoy almost got the Tigers DQ'd with that little bit of taunting. But this year, LSU, another strong favorite. They'll start out with Dylan Peoples. They'll go to Connie Hislop, Noah Williams, and they'll finish with Terrence Laird.
3 lanes to the outside. It's the team from the University of Texas in 6.
And the all red today as well. We'll see them throughout this meet, the University of Houston.
There are the lane assignments. LSU in 3, Houston in 5, Texas in 6. Good reaction of the gun from the leadoff runner for Houston, Nicholas Alexander. Houston passes first.
That's good passes for everyone. This is Randall Ross running the second leg for North Carolina A&T. They look like they might have the edge right now.
A&T right outside of LSU. LSU is lagging. A&T passing first. Houston right next to them. But Houston gets a big jump right off the turn. Here comes Terrence Laird from LSU trying to catch, but he runs out of real estate, and Houston wins the Clyde Littlefield men's 4x1. LSU a runner-up, and what an incredible anchor leg by Terrence Laird to bring the Tigers from 4th to 2nd. But it is Houston once again winning the relay, and why wouldn't they? Their coaches are Leroy Burrell and Carl Lewis.